got any more marshmallows? So, I haven't seen you around church much lately. What's up?
Nothing's up. I've just been busy, that's all.
Yeah, that's cool. I know you got a lot going on. I just miss seeing you around, that's all.
Thanks, Brother Dave. Who knows? Maybe I'll be back someday.
Yeah. Just don't wait too long. All right?
What do you mean?
Nothing. Forget it.
No, seriously, what do you mean?
Well, you see this fire here? There's this guy, and everybody liked him. I mean, a really cool guy, class act, made good grades, had a great girlfriend, even got along good with his parents. Went to church regularly. He just had it all going for him. And then one day, out of the blue, his girlfriend dumped him. I mean, no warning, just like that. And that just sent a shockwave through his life. One thing started going bad, then another. Pretty soon his grades started to slip. And that led to more fights with his parents. And then, before long, he dropped out of church completely. It's so funny how we run from the one place that can actually help us, you know? Anyway, this guy's life is in a free fall. I mean, even his friends, his close friends, had just given up on him, just wrote him off. Next thing you know, several weeks have passed and he's sitting at home by himself, depressed, alone in the dark. Hadn't even left the house in a couple days and he's just sitting there by the fireplace. That's the only light in the entire house. Then he hears a knock at the door. Kind of scares him. He knew he hadn't invited anyone over, so he ignores it. A few seconds later, the knock's back. This time a little louder, a little more intense. He says, all right, I didn't invite anybody over, so he just ignores it. A third time, boom, 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 even louder. So finally he gets up and he walks to the door. And as he puts his hand on the doorknob and opens it, he looks out and sees this huge dark silhouette. And as he's peering into the darkness trying to find out who it is, his eyes adjust. And he sees an old friend from church standing there. It's a freezing cold night and his friend's just staring at him and he says, can I come in? And the guy's like, well, yeah, come on in. So he reluctantly lets him in. And they walk into the living room. Again, there's no lights on, so now there's two guys sitting there staring at the same fire. Neither of them saying a word. So a few minutes go by and then a few more, and before you know it, a half hour has gone by. And these guys have said nothing. Finally, the friend that invited himself over gets up and the guy thinks he's fixing to leave, but instead he walks up to the fireplace, just like this. And he takes those fireplace tongs and he reaches into the fire and he grabs one red hot coal. And he takes it out and he holds it up. And then he sets it right in front of them on the brick hearth. And he just watches it. So his friend looks at it and they stare at it as it was bright red and then it turns kind of a light orange and then a soft pink. And before long, it turns gray and goes out completely cold. So he stares at that for a few minutes and then his friend, without saying a word, grabs the same tongs, picks up the coal that's completely lifeless, and he sets it right back in the middle of the fire. And immediately, the coal bursts to life, alive with flame, red, all the coals igniting it. And they just stare at it for a few seconds. And then the guy gets up, pats his friend on the back, and he walks out without saying a word. And just before he gets to the door, our depressed friend stops and says, hey, wait. You're right. I appreciate what you just said, even though you didn't speak a word. Your sermon came through loud and clear. I needed that. I have grown cold, but I promise you this. I'll be back where I belong amongst my friends, back in church this Sunday, I promise.
So what happened next?
Well, since you asked, I watched my friend put his hand on my doorknob at the house. He opened it, and he let himself out of my house, and he walked out into the cold night air.
That was you?
Yeah, that was me. And by the way, I've kept my promise. I've been back at church ever since, where I belong, amongst my friends. And now, when the struggles of life come my way and the cares of this world seem to weigh me down, I run to the place that can help me, and not from it. Make sense?
Okay, fine. You can all pick me up this Sunday morning.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Shaggy. Man, well, that's good. It'd be good to have you back. Don't cross the streams.
Take that.
Anybody got any chocolate?